Thank you for holding tight today. We've just reached to our final panel, and we are going to discuss actually one of the largest industries when it comes to healthcare, which is pharmaceuticals. We're going to be discussing the challenges and the opportunities, along with two industry tycoons who are leading some of the largest companies in pharma. I'd like to start by addressing my question to Mr. Tariq. Today we've been discussing preventive medicine and how preventive care is becoming very crucial in healthcare. So can you tell us how are you addressing the shift from treatment to preventive medicine in the pharma?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, first. And many apologies for the few seconds or a minute delay. We're having a technical problem in the room, but my apology. We really appreciate being here with you guys. A pleasure to be with you. We've been watching Forbes doing this successfully every year, and mashallah, Sanadi, congratulations to you. Not a surprise, definitely, for understanding the exceptional leadership of Khulud and the talents around here, but really we see the added value every year of pure health, making you more relevant and adding to you as well. So I think it's a lovely combination, it's a lovely partnership, and we really appreciate being part of this. Prevention and treatment, we're not making the full shift so that we don't really make the exaggeration, but if you are an optimist like myself and you want to see at the advantage beyond the COVID era, people learned more to take charge of their health. My well-being is becoming more of a responsibility into my own hands. I need to be taking care of myself. And for us as companies, it's more fun to deal with prevention than dealing with treatment. Even the language you use is health, well-being, rather than sick, give me something. And the language of patients as well and consumers are changing. So people are moving from really, okay, I go and ask for an anti-infective or an antibiotic, give me probiotic, give me something that make me well. And even if I get the disease, I get it on a minor stage. I get the virus or I get the infection so that I build more immunity into no. I need the product to add to my immunity today so that I don't get the disease. So we love this shift, and luckily for us, I speak about Jamjoom Pharma, and perhaps you will hear something as well from Mr. Muhammad, but for us, luckily that we have built from day one a very strong consumer health business. That 3 years ago, it was just 20% of our business in Saudi Arabia. Today, it's almost getting into 50% of the total pharmaceutical business. And this is really empowering consumers. So they are not patients. They are people like you and me who would like to go into a pharmacy and say, give me something that can add value to my immunity, that can help me to become immune, that aid my sleep, that aid my well-being on a day-to-day. And that's, generally speaking, it helps us to improve the well-being of the total society. We become really more contributor to the community, and it reduces the overall cost because prevention, we always said prevention is better than control, but people saw it firsthand post-COVID. And we're really happy to continue to contribute to such shifts.
Absolutely. And one of the things we have been discussing today, all around the day, is technology. So if you could tell us about how can digital communication play a role in enhancing patient education and care?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's playing the role by the minute now. I mean, today, just for the Forbes meeting, I'm not wearing my smartwatch. I move all around with the Apple Watch. So our wearables that tell us the number of steps, how healthy we or unhealthy we are by the day, and make us really take care of this. Tell me now my blood pressure, and I can do a quick ECG on on this. It helps again into the same direction that your first question was getting into, which is the prevention. Or even when I get the disease, I know about it prematurely or early enough so that I can treat it well. So this is very important, and we are pitching in by the day to improve the inclusion of AI in everything we do. how we approach patients, how we maximize the telemedicine, which is our part of the world, is really still very modest when you compare it to places like North America and Europe and whatever. How can we really empower the patients more to go and purchase medications through telemedicine? How we use the diagnostic stuff that help people to identify that, oh, I'm going to have a high pressure, or I already have a mild one, let me deal with it. So we're really pitching into this by the day, and we're increasing the intervention of technology into the day-to-day work, because again, that's the reduction of cost and the improving efficiency and the improving well-being of both the organization and the community that we are serving.
Absolutely, and my next question is to you, Mr. Muhammad. So one of the main challenges that we hear about in the pharma industry is the drug shortages. So can you tell us about the main causes of drug shortages?
Okay, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And so drug shortages has become a major issue, especially during and after COVID. Reasons are plenty, but if I can highlight the main ones, I would say one of them is changes in regulations and regulatory requirements from one market to another has affected the supply. So many times some suppliers were approved. Now, because of the new requirements, they require further studies, etc. So this has led to part of the shortages. But also this has affected also supply chain, whether with the geopolitical challenges that we see every day in our region and the area around. But also there are other challenges that leads to that, which is the disruption in the market. So as the time passes, understanding the demand, the requirements, etc., from all the different markets that companies are active in has created a challenge, because sometimes the actual demand is much higher than the forecast, and sometimes it's lower than the forecast, and these things have taken time to be corrected. One additional reason is the economic challenges that are faced. So there are, especially in our region, there are countries that are facing economic challenges, whether it's about income, devaluation, access to currency, etc. And this has also created issues that led to the shortages.
And you mentioned that we've been increasingly facing this issue after the pandemic, and we've heard a lot from governments of how they are trying to address this. But as a leader of a private company, can you tell us how can the private sector address this issue?
Okay, the private sector is consisted of many different players, but I would say there are two areas that we can focus on to try to address that. The first one is by being proactive when it comes to compliance and collaboration. What I mean by being proactive in compliance, it means maybe addressing all the different markets that we work with, but also our suppliers and the whole supply chain, and try to understand what are the regulatory challenges that might face all of our supply chain, whether it comes to quality, documentation, changes, etc., and try to understand where are these things happening. The other part is collaboration, by collaborating with different companies in the different markets that we are active in, but also in the same market. By that, we try to have customized approach that would enable us to really be proactive and would really make us able to pay attention to all the changes that are happening. So this is one thing. The other thing, when I talked about that one of the major challenges that companies face was the understanding the supply and the demand. I think nowadays we have access to technological advancement that has enabled or started to enable companies to build better forecasts, but also to collaborate with the public sector to enable them to have a better forecast as well. Because this would enable everyone to try to understand and plan correctly. Okay, this will be the supply from that product to that area, to that market. And by that, we are able to communicate also with our suppliers. Now, many of the challenges that we face is because we planned something, we shared something with our suppliers, and then we faced in some specific markets that the requirements were different regarding some products. And then we come back to our suppliers, they cannot supply, etc. So I think adopting technology, and now some companies, technological companies have started to come into the market, targeting our specific sector, trying to help us being more specific and stronger and more accurate in our forecast. And we have been able to share this with our suppliers to avoid shortages and make sure that continuous supply is available.
And we've discussed one of the challenges, which is drug shortages. But if we want to also focus specifically on the region, and my next question is actually to both of my panelists, could you highlight to us some of the main challenges and opportunities that you are facing specifically here in the Middle East? And how can companies actually adapt to these trends?
Doctor.
Mr. Tariq.
I think one of the, let me start by the theme of this summit. We're talking about longevity, but everyone needs to understand that longevity doesn't come at zero cost. It comes as well, when you live longer, you might be susceptible to get diseases, chronicity of diseases, unless you address the well-being of people. So this part of the world were known for many years, maybe a decade ago or something, that it has a young population, 60, 70% are. Now we are shifting because we are improving the treatments, we are improving the well-being, and so people are living longer, but that comes at a cost as well. So the chronicity of the diseases add cost to the healthcare, but as well increase the burden of how we deal with it. So we need to be careful, and we need to address post-longevity hand in hand with the well-being of people, and we need to find the right formula for this. We touched on supply chain, definitely, and the Red Sea crisis and some other issues that took place really impacted us, and those who were more careful and planned in a more strategic front benefited more from others. But that's something that we are vulnerable to, and we had a very bitter test of this during the COVID era as well, as you know, bans on imports, other countries prioritized on our part of the world, so that's a challenge. So we need to be prepared. And within this front, I think overarching crisis management is not within the DNA of our countries and the way we manage things in the Middle East. And we need to move into this. We need to have, and that was crystal clear when COVID happened. So we need, and definitely the private sector and us as partners with healthcare regulators and providers, we need to put hand in hand and ensure that we have our own crisis management. For next time that we have something like this, we are more than ready, and we quickly turn it into an opportunity rather than a chaos. So these are some of the challenges, so that I can give enough time to my partner here to speak. Opportunities are, I think, some of the themes that were mentioned today are really in the heart of the opportunities that we are seeing in this part of the world, but on the top of it is empowering people to really take their health into their own hands. People understanding and becoming more aware. One of the issues that we had in this part of the world earlier is that patient doesn't feel empowered. The physician is controlling everything, and that can have its benefits, and you are obedient and you listen, but it can have as well some of the drawbacks. If you really don't know your rights, and I mean, people are moving into more patient acts and patient rights, and we are very obedient here. So we need to really empower people before they become patients even, while they are consumers and when they become patients. So an empowering community is definitely better. I think our regulators as well, and the way they are foreseeing the healthcare in each market in the region is an opportunity, and it's opening up a lot of opportunities for business to do better and contribute better to the community. So these are some, not all, but some of the top ones that I see in mind.
Thank you, Dr. Tariq.
Sure.
I would add maybe 2 points. I think one of the major challenges for companies that work at a regional level is the disparity between the different markets and the different regulators, whether it's from a regulatory point of view or from an infrastructure point of view. So this makes it challenging somehow to work on these so many different environments. You know, some companies that work in European market, there are more or less similarities in the market infrastructure and regulation. While we work in a smaller market than the European market, but each country has different regulations and has different infrastructure. So this is one of the challenges. I would say the second challenge, which also relates to the different countries and different environment, is the economic challenges among the different, or the economic differences between the different countries. So again, this require specific focus on each market, what works there, what doesn't work there, etc. So it requires further attention to the details of each market and their requirement. Regarding the opportunities, I think one of the opportunities is the longer life expectancy that is happening in many countries around the region. So this is something that brings a new opportunity to see what caters to this growing population. Another thing is the high investment, public investment in healthcare in some of these markets, which is creating an opportunity. To address these opportunities and challenges at the same time, I would say, as I mentioned before, collaboration and market-specific approach should take place. So collaboration is very important in this area, to have really market-specific approach and to try to understand all the different regulations, all the different requirements, and to be proactive in that, because the changes are very fast. And to address the growing population, but also life expectancy, I think we need to continue and increase our investment in research and development, and also maybe collaborate more between the companies in research and development, because as we understand, research and development have become more costly, etc. But also with the spending of the government, there are some segments that has an area where it can be covered, but maybe collaboration in that area would enable the companies in the region to improve, develop, and come back into the next level. Maybe also joint investments in some upcoming opportunities. Something can open the door for all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely, and it's very interesting how both of my panelists have mentioned the same idea as a challenge and as an opportunity at the same time in the region, which is the longer life expectancy. And I think it's an interesting idea to leave with our audience and to end this panel and this day on it. It's very interesting to think about it in that way. Thank you so much for both of my panelists, and thank you for sharing all of these insights.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.